Nope, motherfuckers right here. Smells like somebody shit in their cereal. Bong.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Morose Project. I'm Brad Rosen.
And I'm Aaron Moore.
Alright, so we're still trying to figure out format a little bit. But I guess we'll start similar to how we started last time, just so you guys get to know us a little bit better. So we're going to talk about some of our favorite movies. My favorite movie is one we talked about a little bit last time, The World's End. It's been my favorite movie since I saw it in the theater a couple years ago. Before that, it was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which is just great, like, if you're a fan of comics and, like, early 90s video games and all that kind of stuff. And then, before that, it was Clerks 2, which, I found myself watching quite a bit recently. It's my go-to movie at the moment, which is fun, because it's always great to introduce it to people who haven't seen it yet. What are a couple of yours?
Well, my first and foremost favorite has been, for years now, Mel Gibson's Braveheart. And then, close second has been Gladiator with, what was the movie? The Last Samurai.
With Tom Cruise.
Yeah, with Tom Cruise coming
really,
up behind that.
Never really figured you for much of a Tom Cruise fan.
No, typically I hate Tom Cruise with a passion, him and his fucking front tooth. But
you broke my brain when you told me about that, man. Like, now every time I see him, that's all I notice. For any of you who don't know, we're about to break your brains as well. His front tooth, where, like, should be two teeth, is just one giant-ass tooth.
Where most people have that gap in the middle in their front teeth is a tooth.
Yeah, just one long tooth.
Google it. You need to see this.
It's pretty crazy. But yeah, I like Tom Cruise, the actor. I like most of the movies he's been in and everything, but I'm not a huge fan of... Like, he seemed like a really nice dude. I've seen him in interviews. I've, listened to him on the Nerdist podcast, and he seems like a really nice dude, but just, like, the whole Scientology thing is it's a lot to get over, like... And I try not to judge anybody for their beliefs, but, like, when you believe that the spirit of some wacky alien is inside you because of whatever, it's...
Probing reasons.
Yeah. It's just, it's wacky. And, like, I don't know, the guy who created the religion was a hardcore science fiction writer, so that right there would be enough to at least give me some questions about it. But I love all the Mission Impossible movies. I've actually never seen The Last Samurai, though, because when it came out, all I could think was, well, how are they going to make The Last Samurai be a white guy? It didn't make any sense to me.
True.
But I have heard it's good. It's one of those ones that, like, after a while, if you haven't seen, you just kind of miss out on it.
It's pretty sad. I do love the movie, but all in all, I think he's kind of a shitty actor.
Yeah.
Though a lot of people seem to love him.
Yeah, I mean, he's still quite a box office draw, which is must be nice for people.
Even with the popularity of, like, Risky Business,
yeah,
I did not like it.
I still haven't seen that. That's another one, and I've wanted to see it because I don't know if it still is, but it was on Netflix for a long time, and I used to run across it all the time, but I find that a lot of the time I'll spend, like, a half hour looking around Netflix trying to find something to watch, and then I'll fall asleep before I even turn anything on.
And that's how a lot of people
are. Yeah. Some of my other favorite movies are, I love the Halloween franchise, but especially the original. Nothing can ever top the original. And even though it was made back in the late 70s, you can't really tell, like, I mean, yes, you can tell it looks very 70s, but, like, it still has some good scares and some chilling moments and stuff. It's pretty awesome.
And Jamie Lee Curtis,
Yeah.
one of the OG Scream Queens.
Yeah. I think, like, her, along with a couple others, kind of started the whole Scream Queen thing, and I don't know for sure, but I kind of feel like Halloween was one of the things to start the whole final girl thing, which is where it's always the girl who ends up beating the killer and getting away, which I love. I wish they would do that more often. That's one of the things I love the most about the original 2 Terminator movies, is that Sarah Connor, she's not so much a badass in the first one, but she's really badass in the second one. It should be mentioned that we're not watching, but in the background, American Pie 1 is on.
Hey, he's getting distracted by titties.
Hey, you pointed them out. That's on you, man. If you hadn't pointed them out, I wouldn't have even noticed. But yes, I wouldn't say they're some of my favorite movies, but I really actually do enjoy the American Pie franchise. Not so much the straight-to-DVD sequels that didn't have any of the original cast members other than the dad, but all the ones that have all the, the main characters I really like a lot, and it reminds me of, it was how I wanted my high school experience to be. It was not that, but it's, I don't know, they're funny, and I don't know, even though it doesn't at all how my high school experience was, it still reminds me of high school, so that's pretty nice.
I liked the first couple. After a while, it seemed to get a little redundant.
Yeah.
But kind of the point.
Yeah. It's funny to look at them and just all the ridiculous stuff that they come up with. Like, who, ever in a million years would think of having sex with a pie? Like, it just...
Him.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Also I'd say a couple other favorites are The Dark Knight and The Avengers.
Definitely.
Just because, I'm a huge comic book fan, and obviously Batman's my favorite.
Really?
Shocker, I know. Surprise!
Surprise!
But I do love The Dark Knight, but I have an issue in that I feel all the stuff with Two-Face at the end wasn't really necessary.
It drove me nuts.
I kind of wish the movie was about 20 minutes shorter. Especially, with how great Heath Ledger was, you didn't need to add Two-Face to the end of that, and then you could have had... And I did enjoy The Dark Knight Rises, but you could have had a third movie where Two-Face was the main villain, and it could have been a million times better. I'm not
like
a
him
huge...
and the Riddler, with
Yeah.
kind of a throwback.
I'm not a huge fan of... surprise cameo from Blink-182 in the first American Pie movie. But I'm not a huge fan of multiple villains in a comic book movie. Because, if you have too many, it can go horribly wrong. Like, Spider-Man 3, there's, 3 or 4 different villains, and...
Yeah, but that one wasn't good anyway.
No, because, you got all emo Spider-Man dancing in the street and everything, but... I don't know, it wasn't necessary to have, especially Venom, thrown in the last 20 minutes again, similar to The Dark Knight. It kind of felt like, and I don't know if this is true, but I feel like Sam Raimi said he wasn't really ever a big fan of Venom, even though he's one of the most popular Spider-Man villains. So it kind of felt like fans had been asking for Venom to be in one of the movies, and so he kind of just was like, here, you want Venom? Here's your fucking Venom, and just throw him in. And I love the kid from That 70s Show who played Venom in the movie, but he was a terrible choice to play Venom.
Yeah.
That being said, though, Spider-Man 2 and Amazing Spider-Man are really good comic book movies. And,
Distractions.
yes. What else? What are some of your other favorites?
Oh, man. Donnie Darko is definitely up there.
Donnie Darko is really good. It's one of those movies that, like, makes no sense, almost.
You gotta pay attention.
Yeah.
You gotta pay attention to detail. And then, I mean, it has Patrick Swayze in it.
Swayze dog.
Yeah. Although his character is a little fucked up. By a little, I mean a lot.
I don't remember him very much in that. I've seen quite a few Swayze movies, but the only one I really remember is Roadhouse, which is awesome.
Well,
Roadhouse is the best.
I mean, do you remember him in that movie? Like,
no.
He had that porn dungeon hidden in his house.
See, I don't remember that at all.
Of the illegal type of porn.
Yeah. Speaking of not remembering at all, we were discussing this before we started recording. It's crazy, like, I don't know about everybody else, but I've seen a bunch of movies that I know I've seen, but I could not for the life of me tell anybody what they were about or what happened in them or anything. It's like, I know I've seen it, but I don't know a damn thing about it. Which can be nice sometimes because you can go back and watch, and if it's a good movie, you get to re-experience it for the first time. But then you go back and you're like, oh, I think I like this movie. And then you watch it and you're like, oh, I hope I didn't like this movie because it's terrible.
Right.
But,
like when I went back and rewatched all those Batman movies, Batman Forever, stuff like that, those movies.
Yeah. I still enjoy them. And I never liked Batman and Robin, but they're not good, but I can still enjoy those ones.
The first one with Jack Nicholson as Joker I liked it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Batman and Robin,
Jack
that was
Nicholson is
horrible.
way over the top, though.
Yeah.
And so is Michael Keaton, but he's such a good Batman.
Yeah. But Batman and Robin was horrible.
Yeah. I feel bad for George Clooney. I feel bad for George Clooney, though, because, like, had he been given a good movie, he could have been a great Batman, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out for him. You know, he had the bat nipples, and that's what his legacy as Batman is going to be.
And the crotch shots.
Yes, and the bat credit card, lest we
Yes.
forget. Put it on the bat credit card. Speaking of movies, you watched The Revenant recently.
I did.
So, before you say anything about it...
No, he did not get raped by a bear.
Well, I'm not watching it now.
That's gross.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
Maybe. But, so, tell me a little bit about that, because I know, like, it's a 2.5-hour movie, which is, in all honesty, the real reason why I probably won't watch it, because unless I'm in a theater, it's hard for me to keep my attention on a movie for much longer than an hour and 45 minutes. But I know he doesn't talk a lot in the movie, which is another weird thing, like, to me, like, I don't know, I'm a fan of dialogue, because... You know, I want to be a writer, so I like dialogue and story and everything, and I'm sure the story is great, but, like, I hear he doesn't talk a whole lot in the movie, so is it just him who doesn't talk, or is it, like, just not a lot of dialogue at all in the movie, or?
Well, first off, spoiler alert, you know, if you haven't seen the movie yet, He gets mauled by the bear fairly quickly. Within the first 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
I think it's when it begins.
It happens, like, more than once, doesn't it? Like, the bear comes back or something?
I mean, it's almost right away. Well, what happens is they're out, there's a big group of them. They're out hunting. I think it was elk. Maybe yeah, I think it was elk. They were hunting them for their hides, and they were, this was, I don't know what decade this was based in. I don't remember. But they were encroaching on native territory, and the Native Americans were fighting back, and kind of just ambushed the whole group, and Leo's character and a few others actually escaped on a boat. Well, they ended up ditching the boat.
Is this Tom Hardy? Is he one of the natives?
No,
I
don't think so.
Okay. I just know that Tom Hardy kills his son, so I thought maybe he was one of the natives.
Oh, no. He's not one of the natives.
Oh, okay.
He's just an asshole.
Fair enough. Can't have a movie without one of those.
Right? But they ditched the boat and they end up hiking, and that's when Leo comes upon the bears. And what it was is, the bear was a mother, and it felt her cubs were threatened. So she mauled the shit out of him. And the reason he doesn't have much dialogue is because she takes a swipe and it hits him in the throat. Yeah. And
see. So how would you, in spite of its length, was it a good movie? Did you enjoy it?
I love that movie.
Yeah?
It was really good. A little disappointed in the ending, and also kind of happy with it at the same time.
That's funny. See, I think the ending to a movie is really crucial, because I've seen some movies that I absolutely loved, and then, I hated the ending, and it sours the whole experience. I mean, it's 3 or 4 years later, and I'm still bitching about the ending of How I Met Your Mother, because I thought it was terrible, and of course, that's a TV show, so that was a much longer build-up. You watch a show for 8 or 9 years, and then to have such a bad ending with all the characters that you've grown to care about, and especially that last season where they waste a whole year on a wedding that they break up within the first 5 minutes of the last episode.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. But whereas movies, the only one that I can think of off the top of my head is the movie Knowing. It was a Nicolas Cage movie, and, already Nicolas Cage, it's not going to be great, but I actually really dug it until the very end when, the explanation was just, they didn't know how else to explain it, so they were like, oh, aliens did it, and, if you set up at the beginning that there were aliens, it'd be more acceptable, but just to throw out aliens because you didn't know what the hell else to do, that really annoys me, and that...
Well, maybe Tom Cruise had a hand in that.
Maybe. And so, that just, that kind of thing sours the whole experience for me. And not always, if it's a bad ending, it's one thing, but if it's, a horrible ending, or, an ending that makes absolutely no sense, I just thought of another one. The movie High Tension, it's a French film, I believe, where this girl's being chased by a killer the whole movie, and then at the end it turns out it's her and her friend being chased by a killer, and then at the end it turns out that one of the girls is psychotic or whatever, and she's chasing the other girl and trying to kill her, and it's one of those things where back when it happened, it hadn't been done to death. It'd been done a few times, but, now, there's a million movies where, it turns out, a character was all in their head, or, it wasn't all what it seemed to be. But, when they set it up right, they did in Fight Club, it works perfectly. But when they just throw it in at the end, here, the killer's really this little girl. And not little girl, she's a full-grown woman, but... She was the killer. The whole point in the movie, until it showed you that the woman was crazy, was this big, burly, bearded dude. I think he had a beard, but he was a big dude, and then it just turned out to be little old Homegirl. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but
Homegirl.
terrible ending. Yeah, I do that a lot when I can't remember a person's name. It's usually Homeboy for guys and What's Her Face for girls, but that time I guess I went with Homegirl. No, so if you ever hear me call you Homegirl or What's Her Face, it's no offense. I just couldn't remember your name right at that second.
So, speaking of endings, we talk about Game of Thrones and how it's sadly getting close to coming to an end.
I wouldn't say sadly. It's still at least 2 years away. Like I'm sad. What's sad is that it's not closer. I'd be more than happy with it ending now. I just want to know how it ends. I'm tired of waiting, and the fact that they officially said that this next season is only going to be 7 episodes, and it's going to start later than any season has before.
That's irritating.
Yeah, it's not only irritating, but it's just like, we already have to wait, now you're making us wait longer. And ultimately, you know, the people who make the show are great, and they've gone way past George R.R. Martin, and the books. So, and he gave them, he told them how he was going to end the books, so more than likely the show is going to end before the books, and we're going to know how the books end, or more or less.
Definitely. I mean, he's got, a couple more books left?
I believe he has 2. I think he wanted to do 7. I think his original goal was only, 5, and then he just keeps writing. He can't stop himself. He's writing, 1,800-page books and crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. And he's averaging about 4 years a novel.
Yeah,
So,
well, it's been, I think the last one was 2011. It's 2016, so he's taking a sweet, sweet time here. Gosh, I can totally relate to what's happening right now in this movie.
Don't describe it to them. It's gross.
All I'll say is I hate going to the I hate going number 2 in public. I avoid it at all costs. The only way I'll go number 2 in public is if I'm about to soil myself.
Soil it. Soiled it.
Soil it green.
Oh my god.
So that's kind of sort of what's happening here. It's very similar. The character of Finch is having to use the public restroom, which he's not a fan of either. But
not only that, he's using the women's restroom.
Yeah, because Stifler tricked him into going into the women's restroom. Anyway, hey, if nothing else, we're probably going to get some people to go back and watch American Pie again.
Worth.
Yeah, it really is. There are just some movies that whenever they're on, I just have to watch. I can't stop myself. And lately I found it's this, because they've been on TV a couple times, either this one or the second one, and I'll just be like, oh, hey, and I'll click on, I'll be like, I'll watch a couple minutes till I find something else to watch, and then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, movie's over. But yeah, going back to Game of Thrones, I'm really enjoying it, but like I said, I am ready for it to end. Not because I want to see it go, but I just want to know what happens, and I guess we're gonna spoil some stuff, not too much, hopefully, but for sure, if you have not watched at least season 5, or
6.
Watch season 6, you probably don't want to listen to this. But like I said, we're going to try and not spoil too much, but I will spoil one thing right away, because it's fairly obvious. Jon Snow is still alive. Well, not still alive, back from the dead. Which I was super happy about, because, it's just, when other characters die on the show, it's because their story's over, whereas Jon's story wasn't over, so I would have been really mad had they not brought him back.
They did it so quick, too.
Yeah.
I mean, second episode?
Yeah. I'm glad they didn't drag it out, though, because, and that's the one good thing about them not having long seasons, is they don't really drag much out. But, yeah, it was the end of the second episode, if I remember correctly, when he wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that they didn't wait till like the middle of the season or like the last episode or anything. Not only because I would have hated to have to wait that long, but then we wouldn't have gotten the Battle of the Bastards, and we wouldn't have gotten that hilarious little girl who, I forget what house she's from, but she's the one who calls all the people out on their shit in the last episode when she's like, none of you guys showed up to help him fight Ramsay, but we did. I love that little girl. She was awesome.
Yeah, she had a lot of attitude.
Yeah.
She was so fucking sassy.
But rightfully so. I mean, she's gotta keep people in check. She's like, I don't know, 12, and she's running her area. Like, that's pretty. She's got to keep it up. She's got to keep up appearances and everything. And the other thing, and this is a fairly kind of a big spoiler, and probably the thing that's been dragged out the longest on the show, but Dany's finally coming to Westeros. I'm so excited for that. I know you're not a big fan of her, but
No.
I love her, and like I think the character's good, but what I really think is I just really love that like a woman is gonna like come and fuck shit up. And like I know that's what Cersei's doing, but Cersei's doing it the bad way. She's doing it the way where she blows up a church full of people, and she inadvertently causes her own children's deaths, and she's pissing off all the wrong people, and she's not treating anybody like normal human beings, whereas that's all that Dany's about. She wants everybody to know that she cares about them and everything, and that's why I like her. I just think that, she's
young, and she doesn't know exactly what she's doing. She's kind of a loose cannon.
Yeah, but now that she's got Tyrion, and hopefully Jorah will come back wherever the hell he disappeared to, and he'll show,
Well, he's looking for the cure.
Yeah, oh, I know he's looking for the cure, but we don't know where he's looking for the cure. So, she has people in the right places to tell her what to do, so hopefully she won't go too crazy.
Or get screwed over.
I mean, yeah, but I don't think...
I don't see Tyrion do that.
I don't think Tyrion will. The only person who I wasn't 100% trusting of was Dario, but she's leaving him back in Slaver's Bay, or what are they calling it now? Dragon's Bay or something?
Yes, I think it was Dragon's Bay.
But I will tell you, I love the show, but sometimes there are too many, like, there are some characters where, like, I don't remember who they are, or, like, and there are a few characters who have changed the actors, and, like, I won't like Dario, and I won't have noticed, because I'll be like, who the hell is this guy?
Right.
And I'll just think I don't recognize him, because, like, they maybe haven't been on the show for a few episodes, or maybe even a few seasons. Like, I know he changed, like, in between season 2 and 3 or whatever, but, like, Tommen was a much younger kid the first couple seasons, and then they got somebody else to replace him. And I believe the daughter, what is the Cersei's daughter's name? Marcella, I think.
Is it Marcella? Yeah.
Maybe?
No,
I don't
it's
remember.
Not Marcella.
But the daughter also was changed, and that that makes sense, because kids can grow, when they're shooting a show, and the show is supposed to only take like a year or two, but you're 5 years into the show, you're obviously going to have to replace the children. But I don't know. It's weird. Like, I mean, this season they had Uncle Benjen return, and he hadn't been on since season 1. Like, I actually remembered him, though. I was surprised, but it's probably that giant-ass nose.
Probably.
That's a dead giveaway. But there are other characters, like...
He's, like, half dead.
Yeah, which I thought was a really cool idea. But there are other characters, like the Blackfish, who I don't think had been around since season 3. I didn't recognize... I didn't know who the hell he was. I
forgot all about him.
Yeah. So, and obviously if they're important, they'll probably keep them around and, remind you who they are, but there are some characters that just randomly pop up, and I'm just like, who the hell is this guy? And of course, it doesn't quite help that last year I binge watched the first 5 seasons within like a span of like 3 or 4 weeks.
You're welcome. Talking you into that.
Well, yeah, it's funny because it was one of those shows that I knew I would like, and I always wanted to get into, but I was like, oh, there's too many episodes. But, the longer I waited, the more there was going to be. Although, if I had waited another couple years, I could have just watched the whole show all at once. And then I wouldn't have to be sitting here like the rest of you schmucks waiting season to season.
But yeah, here you are.
That's kind of, and it's backfired on me this year, but that's kind of what I like to do with shows. I like to wait until, like, half a season's over or the whole season's over, and then I just watch it all at once. That way I don't have to, like, sit there week to week, or, like, when a show, like, takes, like, a 2 or 3 week break, I don't have to wait those 2 or 3 weeks before I get another episode. And there are some shows, like The Flash and Arrow, I watched every week, so I had to do that for those shows. But then there are other shows where I didn't watch the whole season until it was over, and I, like, it was much more enjoyable because I didn't have to wait for my answers. I could just get them right away.
It's hard for me to just sit and binge watch a series. I get bored with it after a while.
See, I do with movies, which is why I said I probably won't watch The Revenant because it's 2.5 hours. But I could do the same thing with a half-hour TV show. I could watch like 5 or 6 episodes, which is exactly the same amount of time, and not have a problem with it. I guess because when an episode's over, it's over, whereas the movie, like, it's not over until that 2.5 hours is over. So, like, if I was watching a half-hour show, I could watch it for, I could watch 2 episodes and then watch something else, or go do something, or, But with the movie, I have to sit there and just pay attention for 2.5 hours. And that doesn't always work out because, sometimes, like, if I'm texting a friend or if I'm doing something else on my phone, next thing I know, a 2.5 hour movie's turned into, like, 5 hours. Because I like to pay attention, so if I'm texting somebody or whatever, I'll pause the movie or TV show and text the person and then unpause it when I'm done texting. I don't like to not pay attention and, be on my phone while a movie's going on, unless it's something I've seen before. But, I don't know, it's just, I don't know. To me, it's easier to watch a show now than it is a movie. And I know it's not at all different, but I just... That and TV is just so good right now. There's so many good TV shows that it's...
I will say that I did binge watch hard Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah.
I went through that
You're
quick.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that was a really good show.
Between the time that season...
And that's another show kind of similar to Game of Thrones, where everything... Like you could see some stuff coming, but for the most part, like, something happened, and you're just like, oh, I never would have guessed that was going to happen. Like when, and I guess spoilers for Sons of Anarchy, but it's been over for a couple of years, so if you haven't started it, or if you are currently watching it, but you're not caught up, spoilers, but if you haven't started it now, you're probably not going to, so, but when his mom kills his wife, like, I never in a million years expected that to happen. And especially with how brutal it was.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
He stabbed her in the head with that meat fork.
Yeah, and then, like, I was so happy when it happened, but I did not think he was going to actually kill his mom when he found out the truth. I thought he was, going to be like, well, she's my mom, I can't kill her. But no, he killed her anyway. And I love Katie Sagal, but she totally deserved it.
She did. And that's good. That, like, it's good that you felt that way. I mean,
yeah.
She portrayed her character really
yeah,
well.
exactly. That's why, like, I think it's funny, like, when somebody plays a jerk in a movie or a TV show, and you're like, oh, they must be an asshole. In real life, it's like, no, they're playing a character, like
Joffrey.
Yeah, like, And I'm sure there are some people who are that way, but for the majority of them, probably, like, that just means they're really good at what they're doing. And, like, you know, especially if, like, it's a comedy, they probably, like, they're trying to be, like, more of a jerk than they normally would be for the laugh or whatever. So, I don't know. I just think it's a funny feeling to say that just because somebody plays a jerk. And I've never met anybody, but apparently a lot of people, like, I guess watch TV shows and think it's real. So then, like, they'll be like, oh, fucking this guy is such a jerk. And, like, they won't differentiate the actor from the character. So, like, if they ever meet the actor or if they're on Twitter or whatever, they'll, like, tweet them and, like, you're such an asshole. I can't believe you do that to so-and-so. And it's like, dude, it's a show. It's all pre-written. Like, this was gonna happen, you know. It's not like I did it. It's some, you know, the character did it. And the character did it because the writer wrote the character that way. But, yeah, Sons of Anarchy is really good. There's another one. I know you are not particularly interested, but I think if you watched it, you probably would like it. It's Justified. It's such a good show. It's a
Yeah, I've heard that.
such a good show.
So many people.
And, like, freaking the main dude, like, the main bad guy is really good, but the main character, who's played by Timothy Olyphant, is so good. Like, the actor is, like, the perfect blend of hilarious and a badass. And, you know, because, going back to Sons of Anarchy for a minute, Charlie Hunnam, who played the main character, Jax, on Sons of Anarchy, he could be funny at times, but most of the time he was super serious. Whereas on, Justified, like, he could be hilarious 1 second, and then the next second he could, like, shoot some guy in the face. And, like, he's a U.S. Marshal, so he's doing it, like, legally or whatever. He's not, like, just shooting random people in the face. He's shooting bad guys in the face, so it's okay. But, it's so good.
So you wanted to talk about child actors?
Well, I not necessarily. I was just thinking, because before we started talking, there was this. We were talking about what we were trying to come up with ideas for what we were gonna talk about. There was this movie that we were half paying attention to called Cop Car, with Kevin Bacon and two little kids, and I'm sure those kids are nice little boys, but God, they were so terrible. They were like, and I just like there's very few movies and TV shows that I've seen where the kids are good actors, and, like, they're kids, so I get it. They're not, you know, trained, or, you know, they have whatever, but I hate it so much when little kid actors are in movies and TV shows, because they're just so bad. I hate them.
These kids were awful.
They
could not
were.
drive.
Like,
unless they weren't paying attention to the road. Then they could drive.
Like, yeah, it was funny, because, like, whenever the kids were in the car, like, not doing anything but driving, like, they were swerving around and everything, but then, like, if they dropped something, or if they weren't looking, or if they were playing with the siren and whatever.
Their driving was perfect.
Yeah, perfectly straight. And
on the right
you know,
side of the road.
Well, like, I get it. They were kids, like, probably, I don't know, 10 years old, so obviously they don't have any training driving a car. But
and they probably weren't really driving.
No. I mean, I'd imagine not.
Still.
That seems highly unsafe, even though I'm sure it was a closed stretch of highway. It still seems like it could go bad. But yeah, I don't know. Child actors, like I said, there are a few that are good. Not any I can name off the top of my head, but I hate them so much. Most of them, because on Dexter, the kid who played Dexter's son was terrible, and he ruined every scene of that show he was in. And granted, by the time he was old enough to act and not just be a baby, the show had kind of ruined itself. But the kid made it much, much worse. And that's
another show I haven't seen yet.
And going back to Sons of Anarchy, the kid who played his oldest kid, like, for the most part, he was just a kid, but in that last season, he had some important stuff to do. Like, he found out that Jax's mom killed his wife, and he ended up telling Jax that his mom killed his wife, and, like, just the kid was so terrible. Like, it ruined what was, like, a really good show and a really good ending, just a little bit, because, like, the kid was just so bad.
Mm.
And there are a lot of examples, but those are two that, like, really stick out in my head. But going back to you haven't seen Dexter, if you watch it, I would recommend really only watching the first 4 seasons, because after that it's a mixed bag, because season 5 is really bad. A lot of people hated 6, but I enjoyed it. 7 I thought was good, and I would have been perfectly happy if they ended on 7, and then 8 came, and 8 was terrible. Probably, aside from season 5, probably the worst season of the show. Maybe it was even worse than season 5, but definitely was, not, like, considering how good the show was the first 4 seasons, it was not a great way for it to end, which was very unfortunate. What are your thoughts on child actors?
I don't really pay attention.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of things I watch that have, a ton of child actors, or one that even really ruins it.
Yeah. Like, I guess there's not a lot that I watch, but I definitely notice it when it happens. Like, when there is a kid in there, I'm like, uh-oh. And then when the kid acts and he's bad, I'm like, ugh, here we go again.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of shows out there that have a lot of screen time for kids.
Yeah, because, they're kids, so they can't work a lot of hours.
Exactly.
Damn labor laws.
Oh, God. Hodor, Hodor.
Hodor. Oh, I can't believe we didn't talk about that. Okay, here we go. I'm probably in the minority here on this particular thought, but I honestly did not care at all that Hodor died in Game of Thrones. Like, he wasn't, like, really anything.
He wasn't a key character.
Like, the only thing he was there to do was to carry Bran around.
Yeah.
So I really, I mean, it sucks, because they liked him, but I never really, I didn't hate him, but I never really cared for him either as a character. So when he died, I know a lot of people were like, oh no, Hodor, and I was just like, meh.
Well, it was kind of unnecessary.
Yeah.
At the same time, it was still necessary.
But I mean,
because hold the door.
Most of the deaths on Game of Thrones are unnecessary.
Mm.
Like their stories are complete for most characters, but it also kind of is like, oh well, this character's got nothing else to do. Let's kill him.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I mean, if you were upset, you were traumatized that Hodor died, I apologize, but
I don't.
Me personally, I just was not particularly,
moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really either. I was actually really upset that Brienne didn't get a lot of screen time this season.
Yeah, she was gone for a lot, especially, for the battle. Where the hell... I know she went to get the Blackfish, and then he couldn't come, and then he died, and she had to flee or whatever. But that had to have been enough time, and I don't know how big the map of their world is, but that had to have been enough time for them to get back, before. And granted, there's just her and Podrick, so it's not like they would have been a massive help, but it would have been nice for her to be there and have something to do.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite characters.
I know. She is a good character, but she's severely underused, which is a bummer. She was in Star Wars.
She was in Star Wars.
And she was severely underused in Star Wars as well.
This is really depressing.
It's weird to me, okay, Finn was great because he took off the helmet, and you know we got to see for most of the movie he wasn't a stormtrooper.
He became his own person.
But she was a stormtrooper the whole movie, so it's kind of weird to me, like that they would hire like like an actual not an actual actress, but like a actress who'd been in stuff like
It was more well known now.
yeah, like I don't. Because she's not really doing anything. It's not, because, like, they're paying, most of the time for an actor or an actress, they're paying for their name recognition, and that's why in the Iron Man movies you see inside the Iron Man suit so much, is because they're paying Robert Downey Jr., so you're gonna fucking see Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Whereas, you didn't see her one time, and I know stormtroopers aren't really supposed to take off the helmet, but I mean, hell, even in Empire Strikes Back, or maybe Return of the Jedi, I forget, I think it's Return of the Jedi now that I think about it, but you even see Vader's face for that one scene, and which was still so disappointing that, obviously he's Luke's father, so obviously he's going to be a white guy, but he's got that deep black man voice, and then he turns out to be that crusty old white guy.
You look like a puddle of mayo under that mask.
Yeah. But so, like, hopefully she's gonna be in the next one, and maybe she'll be used more. But
Yeah.
it's just weird to me that they would hire and obviously she's not on the caliber of, I mean, with the exception of the original cast, I don't think anybody in that movie was, like, super well known.
No. One of the brothers, he played a Weasley in Harry Potter, was in it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah. I can't remember his name.
He was one of the bad guys. He was the one who gave the little Hitler speech. But so, like, I don't know. I mean, it's weird to me that they would hire somebody, which I guess they do the same thing for animation movies, where they'll hire people who's not, you don't necessarily recognize their voice, but you know their name, and then so they're like, oh, well, their name will bring more people to the movie. Even if, like, you can't tell sometimes that a certain actor is playing the voice of that animated character, and then other times you can totally tell. But yeah, so hopefully she'll get more to do in the next season. I know it's 2 seasons, but if they're both gonna be, like, shorter episode seasons, I feel like they should almost do the AMC approach, where it's half episode, or, like, it's half seasons, which is what they did with Breaking Bad, and then they did it with Mad Men, where they did, the first half one season and the second half another. I mean, it's the same thing. They might call it season 7 and season 8, but really it's just going to be season 7 part A and season 7 part B.
It could be a good thing though. Like, but if they're gonna have the same budget,
yeah,
they'll have a lot more money to put in
less
episodes.
That's true. Hopefully, and
make those dragons a little bit better.
Yeah, because I've never really thought the CGI was bad, but I have heard people say they think the CGI is not great on that show.
I don't think it's terrible.
I think it's fine. And I've seen some bad CGI. I mean, last episode we were talking about some bad CGI.
Yeah, and Independence Day.
Yeah, and Batman v Superman.
And Batman v Superman. The shit monster. So what about those shitty Kevin Bacon movies?
I got nothing on that.
I don't have anything on that either.
I haven't seen enough of them to have an opinion on Kevin Bacon.
I just don't get what, like, everyone's attraction is to him.
I don't see it. I don't think he's ugly, but I don't think he's an attractive man either.
I don't really remember talking about Star Trek.
I brought it up, and I think I said exactly what I was about to say again. And I always get so mad when I listen to a podcast and a guy says something that he said before, and, like, I get it because, like, I listen because it's Kevin Smith who I'm talking about. Like, he'll say something on one podcast and then he'll say it on another, and I'm like, dude, you said that on this other podcast. But then I have to think, like, well, maybe not everybody who listens to one of the podcasts listen to the other. So, but it really, and we all do that from time to time. We'll tell each other stories that we've already told each other, and it's not like we intentionally do it. It's just we kind of forget that we told them, or maybe we told them when we were drunk, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, you told me that story," and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of the stories I tell when I'm drunk.
Yeah.
It's probably a good thing.
I should just leave that on.
La 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 la.
Look at him run. He runs so weird.
Okay, so when I went, before we started this, I went and picked up my friend.
Is this something you want left
I don't.
in?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't. You don't have to. I can cut whatever the fuck you want.
No,
But,
I just, I didn't, if it was an incriminating story.
No, it's not incriminating. No. You leave that part in. But, when I went and picked up my friend right before we started this, I had to take her to our other friend to get her keys, and don't interrupt me.
I won't.
I see you staring intently at that.
I'm only looking to see if it's Travis Barker.
Oh shit! That dude was from Detroit Rock City.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, interrupted myself. But on our way back to her place, this dude was on his bike, and I don't know what happened to cause this, but he ran straight into a curb and just fucking face planted.
Are you sure that's not Travis? That fucking totally looks like Travis.
That's not Travis.
Okay, if you say so. Anyway, because I could have sworn that Travis was in the band by '99, and that's when this movie came out.
You want me to look it
Anyway,
up?
continue your story.
That was the story.
I apologize.
That was the story.
Oh, wait. What happened then?
Wasn't listening.
No, I was. I just got distracted because I could have sworn it was Travis Barker.
This
The
dude.
dude was on a bike.
Yeah, and he went to cut across the street, and he just hit a curve dead on, and just boom.
He flipped over the bike.
Yeah, he face
That
planted.
is amazing. God, I don't see that stuff often, but every once in a while when you see that shit, it's like, God, I wish I would have been recording that.
Exactly.
It's so funny. And, I hope the dude is alright and everything, but you know how hilarious that is?
How awkward that would be.
Well,
To be him and, know that
Yeah.
car that was driving in front of you.
that's
Just
true.
saw everything.
Yeah. But in fairness, that has totally gotta be Travis.
I'm looking it up.
It looks too much like him.
I don't remember him
apologize.
having hair like that. I mean, I don't put it past him, but...
Yeah. I just love that Blink-182 is in this movie. But, speaking of seeing weird stuff in the middle
Maybe
of the
it
night, I don't know why, but your little story reminded me of Jeepers Creepers a little bit when they see that fucking creepy-ass truck drive by and he almost runs him off the road. And, I totally don't... I guess I get it because he's driving around during the day, so he doesn't want to bring attention to himself. But the fucker has wings and can fly. Why is he driving a truck in that first movie? It doesn't make a lot of sense.
True.
But, I always, especially at night when I'm driving around and I just see weird stuff, I'm always, kind of sort of hoping that maybe it's, something spooky, not necessarily a ghost or anything, but, because that kind of stuff just fascinates me, and I don't know why, but just the idea of, if there were ghosts, that would be so cool. I would I say this now, I'd probably crap myself if it happened, but I would like to meet a ghost, and I would totally stay the night, and, there's a haunted hotel in, they say it's haunted in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I would totally go to and stay a night there. In fact, we should go and we should record an episode. That would be so awesome.
We can do it close to October.
Especially if we had it would be fun. if nothing happened, but it would be so much more fun if something did happen, like fucking hauntings and stuff. And I've never had any experiences really, but I've heard some stuff. Like my dad told me when I was young, like probably way too young to be telling me, but he told me he stayed a night at a hotel one time, and he heard like chains dragging on the floor outside. And so he, like, opened the door and looked, and there was nothing. And I'm just like, that's so, like, just that idea would be so fucking awesome. Like, granted, if the ghost showed up in your room, that would be creepy. But just, like, hearing that kind of creepy stuff or whatever, it'd be so cool. And, actually, I do have one. When I lived in England, my Uncle Mark, I forget, we were camping or something, and he told us the story of the White Lady. It's similar to, well, I never saw the movie, so I don't know for sure, but I think it's similar to the Lady in Black. But it was just this story, you know, I don't even remember the story, but it was about this creepy old woman, and how she was like an evil ghost or whatever, and then later that night, like, I went outside the tent or something, and we actually saw a woman, like, off in the distance in white. And I still, to this day, think he had somebody he knew walk by and do it. But, like, if he didn't, you know how fucking awesome to me that would be? Like, because I saw her, but I didn't, like, she wasn't, like, right next to me, or she didn't, like, you know. And I kind of, obviously, there's no way of knowing unless it happens to you, but I like to believe that if there are ghosts, they can't mess with you. Like, I don't think they could hurt you or anything, and it's totally possible they could. I mean, I don't know what the rules of ghosts are, but, like, I don't know, it fascinates me. That's why, like, I like all these, like, haunting shows and stuff. Like, I don't believe any of it, but, like, I want to believe that something is out there that could do that. Just because I think the whole thing is fascinating.
Yeah, I like the idea of it. It's hard for me to believe it.
Yeah, I get that. Like, it's not, you know, something easy to believe, but, like, if anybody has any experience with ghosts or anything, fucking tell us, man, because I want to hear some fucked up shit. Like, I love hearing that kind, because one of the podcasts I listened to, and fuck, we should have just called the show the fucking, what podcast does Brad listen to? But
all of them.
There's one called Bizarre States, and all they do is, like, originally they were going to call the podcast Spooky Shit, and all they do is talk about spooky shit, and it's either shit that they've experienced, shit that their listeners have experienced, or shit that they've read about, or, you know, they'll have guests come on who've had some paranormal experience. I was going to say activity, but I didn't want to, because fuck those movies.
Yeah.
But just the whole idea, like, I don't know, I want to experience something like that, because I think it would be really cool. And obviously, if, like, the ghost tries to kill me, I'd be wrong. But, like, if it's just like, ooh, and, like, you know.
Like what?
I'm not going to do it again.
Oh. Sad day.
You gotta pay me for another one. But
again,
like, but like, I don't know, like, I just any of that stuff. And you know, again, when I was in England, I'm just thinking of this now, and it very easily could have been faulty wiring, but it was right after my dad had passed, so we wanted to believe it was something more. We lived in an older, I think it was a house, maybe it was an apartment, but I think it was a house. And, like, lights would turn themselves on and off. The TV would turn itself on and off. The TV would change itself to fucking the soccer channel. And none of us watched soccer. My dad was the only one who watched soccer. And so...
You mean football?
Like... Soccer. I'm American. It's soccer. I may be half British, but it's still soccer to me.
He's half British, but full douchebag.
Yes. But so, like, I don't know, just that kind of stuff, like, is really cool to me. And, you know, so if you, like I said, if you have any stories, email the moroseproject69@gmail.com, or you can click it on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Because I made it to where you can just send an email from the Facebook page, which is, you know, facebook.com/moroseproject. We gotta, I gotta give you the info on the Twitter so you can run the Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And we gotta set up an Instagram.
I
But
do
so
that
yeah,
too.
if you have any stories, and I would love to hear them. Any kind of fucking spooky stories, like even if it's like you're driving down a highway and you think you see something and then it was nothing, or you did see something, but everybody else tells you it was nothing. Like that'd be awesome. And there's another thing of like lost time. Like I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's like say you're driving down a highway or whatever in the middle of the night, and then like you look at the clock and it's like 1:30 in the morning, and then like you look down and like it feels like it's only been a minute or two, but you look down and it's been like 10-15 minutes. Usually it's not that much difference. It's usually only like probably 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But like, and you don't know where that 5 minutes went. Like you're not 5 minutes ahead or whatever. It's just like lost time. That all that type of stuff is really interesting to me. So, like I said, email us if you have anything, because I'd love to read it, and if you're cool with it, I'd even love to read it on here. That'd be pretty awesome. If you're not cool with it, I'll just read it for myself, and just to scare myself so I can't sleep at night.
Or, if you'd like, come on the show with us.
Yeah, you could come on and tell us.
Tell everyone your story.
Obviously, if you don't live in Weatherford, it'll be a little more difficult, but I'm for sure when I go down to Altus, going to try and get my friends and other people on here. And, you know, I told Aaron if he ever has anybody he wants on who, I don't know, lives not in town, he can do that as well.
So I can do what I want.
I'm just like, I really want to get as many people involved as possible. And we've had quite a decent response of people who are actually interested in coming on, which I think is absolutely great. But I, like, hands down, anybody who's listening, I would want you on at one point or another. Like, even if it's my parents, or if it's, you know, I'm friends with some of my friends' parents on Facebook. If any of them are listening, I would totally have them on. Like, I don't care who it is. I just fucking love to talk, and I like to listen. I know from the story you just told, that doesn't seem that that's the case. But to be fair, I was looking for Travis Barker and other stuff. But yeah, like that is really, I want to have this for like, and it's cool because, you know, maybe you know us and like, but you've never heard us talk about this stuff or talk at this length, so maybe you'll get to know us a little bit better or learn something you didn't know or whatever. I don't have a monetary goal. I really just want to do this to chat with friends and to, you know, it's fun. I like listening to this stuff, and it just always seems so fun. So, and I know I kind of covered this last time, and so I apologize because I was just complaining about how people say the same shit twice.
Did you? I wasn't listening.
Asshole. But I didn't quite say it this way. And I just want to like reiterate that like everybody is welcome. I don't want anybody listening to think that, oh, I could never come on. You could totally come on. Like it's difficult for the first minute or two, but once we get going, we're fucking going. Like
Giggity.
Like, and with the exception of, and you won't hear it because I'm totally gonna cut it out, but with the exception of maybe like a minute or two, like, we've totally just straight talked, and we've been going for over an hour.
Back at this scene.
uh, yeah. Is there anything else? Do you have any spooky stories, any haunting experiences, any ghostly, ghastly, I don't know,
That was horrible.
discoveries?
I've never experienced any of this. I mean, I remember...
Like, fuck, it doesn't even have to be, like, ghosts. It could just be something, like, creepy that happened to you. Like
my uncle? I'm kidding. Cut that part out.
I'm not gonna cut that part out. Hope your uncle don't listen, that's all I'm gonna say. It's too, because, like, the only stuff I'm gonna cut out is the chunks of time where we, like, you know, reset to figure something else to talk about. I'm not going to cut anything. Like, that was just like a brief split second, so it would be too hard to cut out. Like, no, you know, I don't want to piss your uncle off.
I'm kidding.
But
I don't care.
yeah, your uncle ain't listening anyway.
Nah.
He's in jail. What? But so, no, nothing?
Not really. I mean... Yeah, no.
I'm worried, like, legitimately, this is a little behind the scenes. I'm worried because a couple people said you were a little low-talking, and, like, this isn't... Hopefully, like, just... Obviously, that part's big, but I'm just a little worried that neither of us are going to be talking very loudly, and I'm kind of worried that this is all going to happen for fucking nothing.
Hey, Trent, I hope you can hear me this time.
Speaking of which, shout out to Trent, because he said he's going to give us some microphones, which would be greatly appreciated. I do want to invest in microphones, but right now I don't have the money, so for the time being, we're going to record on my cellular device, which is what I recorded on the first one, and I thought it turned out well. I did notice when I listened, because I did listen back as much as it pained me to do so. I did listen back one time just to make sure, you know, everything was good. And I didn't think it was too bad, but, I don't know. I just, you know, so, obviously if this is unlistenable, I'm not going to put it up, and we'll have to come back and record one tomorrow.
Bitch bet.
I think we'll be okay. I'm a little worried because some of these lines are, like, really tiny, and I don't want them to, not be listenable. But I think for the most part, it'll probably be okay.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty quiet to begin with, so...
Yeah, which is cool, but, you know, you don't want to be too quiet, because then it's just me talking to myself, and that's usually something that I only allow myself to hear. Is there anything else you want to talk about for this week?
No, I think that covers everything.
Alright, so yeah, send us your spooky shit if you got anything. Like I said, it doesn't have to be ghost or anything crazy. It could just be, you know, like, maybe you were driving home one night and you thought you saw something, or, you know, you did see something, but you don't know what it was, or, I don't know, just anything crazy or spooky I'd fucking love, because I love that shit.
And if you're possessed, we'd love to have you on the show.
Well, one of us would. Alright, I guess that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. Once again, follow us at facebook.com/moroseproject.
Trademark.
TM. Twitter.com/moroseproject. I will give Aaron that information so he can use that account more often, because I only used it the day we set it up. I haven't used it since. Click on sending us an email on the Facebook page. We will get an Instagram set up. I want those fucking t-shirts. I know we only briefly talked about it, but you have no idea how badly I want a t-shirt. Like, with our catchphrase.
Yes.
Anyway, everybody, have a great week. We'll be back next time, and remember,
Fat guys try harder. Bong!
Real, it's the next episode. Hold up. Hey, well, my niggas who be thinking we soft, we don't play. We gon' rock it till the wheels fall off. Hold up. Hey, well, my niggas who be acting too bold, take a seat. Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey.